Okay, it's the Bright Queen. I'm gonna start this off with a song that I wrote called For James and Scarlett, because it's for James and Scarlett. So here we go. I'm not a professional singer and I'll probably get some of the words wrong and I'll be off pitch and stuff, and that's okay. Okay. If you're awake, I'm awake. If you break, I break clean in half. Where you go, I follow into the moon, James. I've been looking for you. Tarot cards out on benches, out of backpacks. Read me till I'm priceless as a price tag. One day I'll be burnt and you'll be young. Until then, I'll be singing this song. If you're awake, I'm awake. If you break, I break clean in half. Where you go, I follow into the moon, James. I've been looking for you. Little Scarlet in the forest, she's not lost at all. Not even the dogs couldn't know where it grows. We were scarlet on the freeway, running for the ball. Not even the law could have held where we go. So if you're awake, I'm awake. If you break, I break clean in half. Where you go, I follow until I'm blue, James. I'll be looking for you. James, I'll be looking for you. Where you sleep, I slept. What you keep, I kept in the Lord. Where you've gone, the world may never know. But James, where you rowing, I row. James, where you going? I go. 333 on the timer when I finished that. That felt nice. This felt really nice. I'm nervous. So, if you're watching this, what you've been creating in your energy signature, in your energy, the story that you've been writing within and around yourself is actively materializing. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, earlier today, before today, and every time I've sat down to record it, something feels wrong. The first time my phone blinked and it was like managed storage, which I haven't had an issue with storage in over a year, well over a year. And so it was just very interesting. But I want to talk about James, as you can tell, because it's just a sweet message and it's a sweet story. And they really want me to talk about the deer. So James has to do with the deer. Where do I start? After I did the I'm back videos, I did the I am back videos where you could tell I was really like in my big girl energy. I made sure to be in that energy in there. You can tell from the thumbnail and the energy of those videos. I feel like what kind of happened is I connected so intensely to my higher self that my body had to shut down in a way in order to recalibrate itself. Because I remember I was like in a lot of anxiety at that time, and then I broke through it by being in that energy of myself, my energy signature. I don't know why I keep hearing that today. And then being that, right after that, my voice started going out and I had very sore throat. Haven't had sore throat in forever, especially not like that. And it got to a point where one of the days my throat, like, it was closing and I was terrified. And it was so funny because I was like, oh my God, because one of my nostrils was clogged. I could barely breathe through my mouth. And I was like, what if I what if I don't make it through the night? And then I was like, then I can leave my body. And I was like, I can have like a whole experience. It'll be fun. Then I was like, oh, my family, that would be fun. Like if they found me here. But it's so interesting how my mind kind of thinks about stuff. I was like, oh, that'll be fun then if I like dip out, you know what I mean? But I didn't. So I'm here. And after, it took about a week for that to clear up, which introduced me to oregano oil. Basically, I went on Dr. Yakai's website and I just typed in throat into the little search bar, and what came up was oregano oil. And oregano oil has so many benefits. Right now it's in the diffuser, and it's whenever I know I'm about to talk or sing, I put it in a diffuser and I don't have any issues with my throat. And whenever I feel like a little itch coming to my throat, I drop some oregano oil underneath my tongue. Boom. Just like that. Goes away. I don't have any issues. So I'm so grateful for the whole experience. But anyways, it took about a week. I was itching to get out of the house because I was in the bed. And the first day I went out of the house, I only made it like, I think about an hour or two. I was so tired. And then the next day is when I was like really out. And I went to my favorite park that's nearby, my closest favorite park. And I talked to myself for a long time, but then I started getting anxious again because I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And so I started walking in the back forest part, and I went a different way than I usually go. And there's this bench back there that's my favorite bench because it's next to this pond, and the pond is covered with this, I'm gonna say algae. Pretty sure that's probably not it, but it's covered with this green algae, and it just looks so serene. It's so nice. And my intuition kept telling me to go to that bench, and I was like, no, like I want to get to it. I want to take this long leisurely path and get to it. But I could feel this pull, and that's what I was gonna title this video. And I still may, I don't know. I was gonna title this focusing. Okay. I don't know if that's a yes or a no. Obviously, I feel like it's a no. This is what I was saying earlier. I was about to say this, the thing I was just about to say, and it was like this energy of no, I just don't understand why I'm not supposed to talk about this. Because I don't feel like it's like this big thing. That's so interesting. All right, I'll skip it. Anyways, my intuition was telling me to go that way, and I wasn't listening. So I went this longer way, this way that I hadn't been before. I went further back, And I was walking and I was listening to my intuition and making sure I was safe. Just standing in the area, you know, for any feelings of danger or anything nearby. And it was fine. And I keep walking and I saw they're really not wanting me to talk about this. Okay. I will skip ahead. We'll just skip ahead all the way to James. James was this guy. Basically, yes, I can hear you. It was a lot of strange things that happened in that forest. It was the thing that I was about to say, and then another thing I was about to say. I'm gonna skip those. James was this guy that my guides wanted me to meet. He was sitting exactly on my favorite bench, and I was just like, I remember telling him, I was like, I came all this way to sit there, and he was like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like, and he scooted over to give me space. And James was this older gentleman, and I want to describe him as a gentleman because it's exactly what he was. He's an older gentleman of Caucasian descent. And he had this pup with him, big pup, but pup nonetheless, named Scarlet. And it was so interesting because my hair was red and I had it in my afro puffs, pretty sure. And I remember my guides were like, you need to go to him, and he was sitting on my favorite bench, and that's why my intuition was telling me to go straight there. And it was such a beautiful thing meeting him. They're being really selective about what they want me to say. So one of the things that I'm hearing to say is that I was talking about like the pond I told you with the algae stuff on top, and it's green on top of this water. And I brought that up or something like that, and he was like, up until a little while ago, he couldn't see color. He was like, I used to be really colorblind. I couldn't see any of the colors. And he said one day he was sitting on a bench with his friend Casey. These names are important. And lightning struck, like, I think he said like right in front of them or a few feet in front of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like right in front of them, probably a hyperbole. But basically lightning struck close by, and he said when it struck, the first thing he saw was Casey's eyes, which are green. And he said little by little after that, his eyes were able to see color. Okay, and so they're kind of wanting me, I'm gonna jump ahead, and basically one of the things that was bothering me like during this whole time as I've come into releasing like these fears or these hidden fears inside of my body, one of them was this idea of me being a witch or being like looked at in this kind of negative connotation when it came to spiritual stuff. And after I told him, because I didn't tell him at first, took like an hour I think before I told him, after I told him that my guides told me to come talk to him, he said that earlier that day, like right at the beginning, probably like at that time it was like 4 o'clock, he said at like 7 a.m. or something, he said he reads his tarot cards every day, and he said at the beginning of the day, they told him that there was going to be a witch that he needed to meet on that bench. And he said he'd basically been waiting there like all day for me. And it was so interesting because he was like, obviously he didn't know what they were talking about. He didn't know what they meant, but he still did it anyway, which is what I talk about in my astral projection video and things that I do for like my soul hygiene in order to easily do things that I do with my intuition. That's one of them, is like trusting your intuition. But I thought it was really interesting and very specific that like our people on the other side told him to like that a witch was waiting there, and he saw it in such this positive, you know, kind of light. and this honorary thing. Like, he didn't say high priestess, he didn't say spirit guide, he didn't say tarot reader or whatever. He said witch, and I loved that he said witch, and it made me feel very proud to be witchy. So one of the things that happened where they're telling me to share, Kitty is so cute, he's asleep. When I was walking, it's this long path where you can see the bench and the lake to the side, or the pond to the side. I was walking that way before I could see James because there was a slope. And I walked through something, and it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like when I walked through something. And when I told him that, he was like, oh yeah, those things happen all the time. And I was like, what? He was like, the spirits, like you walk through like a spirit. And I was like, huh, like I don't feel like I've like had that happen like that before, because it felt almost physical. I could hear something, like I could pass through like a tunnel or something. And he was saying that back there where I was is close to this river, and the river, he was saying it like it's ancient, and it very much like it's stuff gets weird back there. And I was like, yes, because other stuff has happened back there as well. And he said that if you come to that bench like early in the day, like super, I think like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., the deer back there will just, they'll walk right in front of you, you know, especially if like they recognize your soul. And I've seen deer a lot at that park. I always am led to them, except for that day. Usually when I go back there, I can count on seeing a deer. I'll just see one of them. That day I met James. A couple of nights ago from now, I had a vision of being at that park different times, and I was seeing myself, hold on, I'm getting hot. I was seeing myself through the eyes of one of the deer. And they show me that when they see me, they see a flame, like a white light, flame light thing. Like, that's how they see me. 'Cause, okay, James was saying that when I told him about an experience I had that day with an animal, he said like the fact that the animal didn't run away, like that's because the animal like knew I was like a good soul, how they reacted to me. And I guess that's what I was like curious about, like when I was laying down to meditate, go to sleep. And so like they showed me the deer, like how they see me, and it was as light, like a flame. And they show me that like when I think differently, or when I'm stressed, or when I'm worried about something, the flame changes color. And like based on that, they like choose when to appear. And this all connects because I've been talking to myself a lot, my soul, my highest self a lot. And this is what they've been talking about, is thoughts, thought forms, and like internal beliefs that like come out as thoughts. And it keeps coming up in the interview that I watched of Darius J. Wright and Nino, and then Solera Speaks, she wrote a post about it, and then Andre the Alchemist 369 just wrote a post about it. So it's like it's like I create my own reality. So the things that I've been thinking, they show up, and it's these other people write them out very well. And they say them very well, very clearly. So I'm very thankful for that. But that's what the deer was showing me. It's like they choose based on that. And I've had like these very interesting experiences with cats recently. Like, they've come up to me, and just today, I just remember this just now, when I was driving home and I was feeling kind of out of it, and my intuition was telling me, like, you need to be careful, like, you need to be careful, watch for like cars or something. So I took a different route home just to kind of like change the reality because of those warnings. And this possum ran out into the road in front of my car. I had to swerve and like speed up to miss it. I've never had a possum run out in front of me like that, especially not on like a road that's like, you know how a road is like, you know, on like a forest road and it's like trees and stuff. That's when you usually see them, opossums, I don't know. But this is like residential. This was like in my neighborhood. I've never seen a possum in like this suburban like cul-de-sac area. I've seen them like in other areas with like, you know, woods and trees and stuff. So that was very interesting. But I was walking the other day and a cat just came to me. And then I have, if you go on I'll put the link to this song for James. It's very pitchy, turn it down. But I'll put the link, and in there I have this cover that I did of the song Asshole. And in there that this horse comes up to me, and that was the first time I stood at that fence and a horse came up to me and I didn't back away from it. I didn't run away from it or try to give it space or try to like limit myself or, you know, dim myself down for the horse. I stayed. And then today I was walking again. I've been walking a lot, and there was this black cat in the road. I was guided to go a specific way. My intuition was like, go this way, and I went, and the black cat was in the road, and as I approached, it walked off, but then it stopped and looked at me. And that's what James was saying, is like, if they don't run away from you, like your family, you know what I mean? Like you're in there. And so, yeah, like the vision that I had. So the other day I was walking at this other park and I was not frustrated. I've been feeling very weird. I've been feeling who's watching this? Who is watching this in the future? Last time, well, it's not happening as often, but last time my light was doing that, it was because I realized later on that somebody was watching. Hi. But I was at this other park and I was just feeling confused because I was at a park. I was sitting down by the water. The water was nice, and I was still so anxious and like antsy and feeling like I was on edge, and I didn't understand why. So I got up to leave, and as I was leaving, there was these trees to my right, and I saw like a spirit deer, a white spirit deer, and it was like floating almost, like it didn't walk. And I'd be like, there's no way I just saw that. And so I'd walk a little bit, and then I'd see it from the side of my eye, and I saw it, and I knew I wasn't seeing it with these eyes, but with like my true eyes, I could see it there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen like an animal spirit in that way, like present itself to me. It was small. Pretty sure it was a doe. All of this has a point. They really wanted me to share this. I think the last thing that I'll share is about tattoos, because it came up in my post about Mr. Nobody. Go check that out. And then when I was watching Jupiter Ascending, because I finally sat down and watched it because that movie keeps coming up, and I was like, this movie sucks. And I remember thinking it sucked. That's why I only watched it once. But then there was a part when she got that tattoo on her wrist, and this tattoo, not on her wrist, it was here, and it was like holographic, and it was moving inside her skin, and I was like, that looks so familiar. But I didn't think about anything that right then. But that tattoo represented her title, like claiming her right as the dynasty member. I'll just say queen. That's what it meant. Like legally, she claimed her title as a queen to be an owner, you know, and to have power and control over different properties and stuff like that. And I knew that was important, and that is important because that message keeps coming up about indigenous people, about the past, and about like ancestry and clearing that stuff out from the hidden truths and the unrightful things and things like that of that nature has been coming out, taking back what was yours. Anyways, I'm talking to my friend and he's watching Carrie, and in Carrie, he takes a screenshot of this picture frame with a bee in there, and he's like, I have this same bee tattoo. And I was like, holy shit, tattoos and bees just came up for me in Jupiter Ascending, however you say it, Jupiter Ascending, the movie. And in that movie, there was a bunch of bees, and that's how they knew she was a royal, because the bees were reacting to her. And the guy in the movie said, bees recognize royalty. They're programmed to recognize royalty, and they're not like humans. They don't question, they don't doubt. When they know, and they just go from there. And so that was so interesting. My friend sent me that, and that was a tattoo, because I then remembered I had this dream where I'm pretty sure it was just me in it was me viewing myself in a parallel reality. And in this one, I looked down in my thigh and I had this floating tattoo. If you've been watching me, you remember me saying this. I'll do my best to find which video I said this in, but it was a tattoo on my thigh. And that's when it made me click, because it was the same type of tattoo that she had here, where it was like moving and it was holographic, but still tattooed in the skin. So the message is, there are markers, there are indications of where you're meant to be, who you're meant to be. But I'm feeling where, like markers of people. Kitty, please. I hate the sound of like the licking, the self-grooming. I don't know why. It didn't used to bother me so much, but now it just drives me insane. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, there are certain markers for where you're supposed to be, and these markers will show up like on people, or like in what they say or what they're wearing. It could be anything, any sort of indicator, but it'll just be like a little something, like a tattoo or mark. Maybe literally the name Mark. I picked these acorns from my yard earlier because I wanted to use them. It's 12 of them. Today's a 12-12. Okay. I don't know what this is meant to be or do, but I got these acorns and I got these phase 10 cards. Let's see which one comes out. So we have the wild card. We're gonna leave it at that. So out of the 12 acorns, I chose 2. And then we literally here have the wild card. When you turn it upside down, it kind of looked like mild. Like mild. And that's what I'm saying. There's this energy of things flipping on their head. And it's tumultuous. It's dizzying. It's tiring. Like my energy has been like super fluctuating. Like I have a lot of energy and then like be super tired, like just feeling very like unbalanced in and out. It's flipping on its head because everything has been in the inverse, as Ramona Lappin says. It's been inverted. It's been, many people say this, but she's the first person I heard say this stuff. And so like mild gifts becoming wild gifts, things that you've been accessing in still a limited fashion becoming untamed, breaking past barriers. So finally we have these acorns. One of them is on the word until, and the other one is on the word for. So the until for, even though it's F-O-R, until for. What I'm feeling from this, there being 2 of them as well, is some sort of divine connection, some sort of divine union. And I feel like we've all kind of, especially people like me who do similar work to what I do, like beating this dead horse of these divine connections. Will they be, won't they be, and da 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 da. I still feel there's something with that, the 2 of them. Kitty is really getting into the grooming. What I'm feeling with this is it takes 2, baby. It takes 2, baby. It takes 2, baby. Just me and you. Like it takes more than one to complete something. And this is a divine, sacred something. And I feel like a part of the reason, since you've been feeling how I'm feeling, I'm guessing watching this, a part of the reason why everything is so hidden is because somebody else has the other puzzle pieces. When was this? Was this yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I was walking and I found, yeah, it was yesterday. I found this puzzle piece on the ground, but it was flipped on its back, so you couldn't see the imagery. It's like a clean slate, but, oh, I just said inversion. I said inversion earlier. Something flipped on its head. Like getting rid of that false story narrative, flipping it to the clean slate for a fresh new start. So I repeat, a part of the reason why you have to walk blindly in blind faith and not know the rest of the story is because somebody else is holding the other keys to this thing. This is mentioned again in that channel message I had of the 1144 message. So I'm gonna see if there's any final remarks. Subscribe, like, share, comment. So they keep showing me, like, the reason I know that phrase of that song so well is because when I was younger, my auntie had these teddy bears that some guy had gotten her for Valentine's Day. And it was these two bears, and they were, you know, connected together, and they were animatronic, I think is the name. And they used to, like, you press the little paw, and they say, "It takes two, baby. It takes two, baby. It's me and you." And I used to press it all the time, and it never ran out. That's the message. What this is reinstates a limitless battery. The power of it never runs out. And this is like, I'm hearing a code index, an index code. It's invigorated by the two coming together, two wholes coming together is what brings this thing out from hiding or from capture. It's like it's there, but it's not. And it takes this to make it be seen. And you know what's funny is my little nieces, they're just geniuses. That's why I do my best to not stop them or get in the way of them, because they know stuff that I don't even know they know. And one of my nieces, she has been going in some cabinet downstairs and pulling out these gigantic batteries, like batteries this big. And I'm like, where do these batteries come from? And they were like, oh, she went and got them from the cabinet. And I'm like, we need to get them from her, get them off. But I'm like, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this big ass battery, and it's green and it's glowing. And it's on and on. So this is also something you can take with you as comfort. I've heard this before. I don't know if I'm like gonna say it the right way, but it takes a lot of work to do something. This has been a big push, a lot of work, a lot of effort. But once it's done, I just felt a tap here. Once it's done, it's done. And it's done forever. You're never gonna have to do this again. It's never gonna be this hard, ever after this, is what I'm feeling. It just goes on and 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 on, like this. They keep wanting me to turn this page. There's nothing back here. What is this? Yes, the blank page. It's a message, like that turned down puzzle piece. Oh, yeah, it goes like, they have to win every time, but we only have to win once. Somebody said that. The opposition, they have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying to sustain this lie. But the truth tellers, the truth speakers, the truth beers, the truth beings only have to speak once. Only have to win once. And when the truth is out, like when it's out, like really out, when people know the truth, there's nothing you can do to oppose it. It just goes on and spreads like heavenly fire. Okay, that's all. I'm the Bright Queen. If you wish to support me, you can do so with the donation links in the description. I'm very tired. If you want to contact me, it's The Bright Queen on YouTube. Or if you want to email me, it's queensensitivity1@gmail.com. So you see I'm like blanking. I don't even know words. But that information is in the description. And I do basically everything. Guidance, readings, energy clearing stuff. I've scanned people's bodies before to see what areas, you know, need healing, things like that. I can do all things in love. So, I'll see you later.